Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm back to cover the Prize Picks plays for this Monday NBA slate. Yesterday, I got a couple of them to hit. Some of them fell short, so we didn't get the sweep back to back. See if today we can get back on track and get most of these to hit, if not all of them. So go through the board, see if any of them really stick out. As always, if you enjoy the videos, hit the like button, subscribe. All the good stuff is in the description, so check it out if you want to. And let's get started. So first one up, we have Jason Tatum, 29.5. He's hit that in 2 out of the 3 games this series. One of them just barely. Last game put up 39. Still pretty high number. When you have Durant, who's been really bad this series, but still he's cheaper. His number is lower at 26.5. And then you have Brown at 23.5. He's also been right at that number, so it's been tough if you're picking Jalen Brown. These are kind of just like coin flips. So I'm not too interested there. I do like Kyrie Irving, but I like Irving's fantasy score more than his points because these guys are playing like 40 minutes. Even if they don't get you there with the points, they can still get you rebounds, assists, some steals, blocks, all that stuff, which will help them with the fantasy score. So I kind of like targeting the fantasy score the most out of this, especially with that being a pretty low for some of these players. The second group, Smart, don't really want to take that over 13.5. Bruce Brown has been hitting his shots, but maybe today Irving doesn't score 10 points, so that's going to be less points for Bruce Brown. Seth Curry, don't know if I can really trust him either. And then I do like Siakam. You might be well off to take advantage of these Toronto guys before we get the Fred VanVleet news, because if VanVleet is out, sure, all of these numbers are going to go up. Whereas if Fred VanVleet is in, you probably won't see these numbers change too much. I think they are already priced appropriately and already set appropriately with their lines. Embiid 27, he's hit that 2 games this series, and now he's dealing with, he was dealing with a thumb issue last game as well. Put up just 21 points. But that was in Toronto. He's back at home in Philly. Harden at 21.5. He looks good to me. I like Maxi's number at 18.5 as well. And I like Gary Trent. Tobias, I take his fantasy score over his 15.5 points. This group, Donovan Mitchell, for sure, I think he'll go back over 30 today. We don't see him drop under 30 too often. He's only dropped under once this series, so I definitely like Mitchell taking the over 28.5. Gobert, also like him. His fantasy score is also pretty low, so either the 13.5 points. Hopefully he can knock down some free throws, which will not make him sweat as much or make you sweat as much if you do have his props in. And I don't have much interest in the bottom of these guys. Bogdanovich came back down to earth a little bit last game. 19.5 is probably where he should be. With the assist board, Tatum looking to get his teammates involved. He's hit that all 3 games this series, 6, 10, and 8. He's playing big minutes. So Tatum is first guy I'll plug in. I think he looks, I'd rather take his 5.5 assists over his big number with the points. Durant is looking to get his teammates involved as well, but he's also been struggling with turnovers, so it's not been as easy for Kevin Durant. Same thing with Kyrie. He's done that once or 2 times, gotten over 5.5 assists. But I really like Kyrie Irving's fantasy score, so that's going to be the one that I target for him. And then you also have Jalen Brown at 4 assists. Having these at these whole numbers is tough because 4 is going to be a push. So you're going to need 5 assists to really capitalize. So 5 assists from Brown or 6 assists from Tatum. Maybe a coin flip, I would lean Tatum, but they're both pretty close. And then Smart's at 6 assists. Should be also one whole number. So I like targeting the 0.5s with the assist and the rebounds more. Siakam, 5.5 assists. Now that Barnes is back, it's going to be a little bit tougher for him because Barnes will facilitate and handle the ball a bit. Maxey at 3.5 assists. That looks pretty solid. He also can get there with the scoring, so there's a lot of opportunities to where you can target Tyrese Maxey. And then also like Donovan Mitchell at 5.5. He's hit that 3 out of 4 games this series, looking to get his teammates involved, and he's playing big minutes. So 40 minutes out of Donovan Mitchell, as long as he's not going to take 45 shots, I think he can look to his teammates and hopefully they can score a little bit. Moving on to the rebounding board, Tatum is being a menace on the glass as well. 3 games he's averaging about 5 rebounds per game. 6.5 is a pretty high number, especially with Williams being back there and they're starting Williams and Horford, even though they're not playing huge minutes together. It's going to take away some rebounds from these other guys. Durant, 7.5 rebounds. Don't have much confidence in that one. Looking further down here, Embiid is at 12 rebounds. Tobias at 7.5. Embiid, wish it was like 11.5 or something like that. You can get there, but it's definitely not going to be a slam dunk. Harden at 6 rebounds, also for whole number. He's not really capitalized too often. Tobias is where I'd probably lean, although 7.5 is a high number usually for Tobias, but he's really being a factor on the glass with all the minutes that he's playing. So he's crashing the boards. I would have the most interest out of him. And then Gobert's at 14.5. This one also should be a hit with how many minutes he plays and just how active he is on the offensive rebounding and the defensive rebounding. But rebounds, I'd rather just take a shot on these fantasy scores with some of these guys being really low. Tatum 49. If you're not going to look at his assist board, definitely look to his fantasy score. Durant hopefully will have a good game at least once this series. I mean, kind of tough for me to see Durant not show up a little bit at least, or at least try to show up. Maybe if he's not hitting shots, he's just not hitting shots. But I expect him to be a lot more aggressive than he was and just come out firing in the first quarter. I'm leaning Kyrie Irving, though, just 44 fantasy score. Him and Durant, similar, but at least Kyrie has shown similar scores, but at least Kyrie has shown the ability to put up a good game this series. Put up 66, only put up 43. Last game where he didn't even hit a 3 and shot poorly. So I do like Kyrie at 44. Smart at 29, another one that you can get behind with the minutes he plays, 33.5. He's got you there 3 games easily this year, or 2 games easily this series, but that's also been on 66% shooting from the floor, so it's tough to trust. I'd rather go down to like Embiid is only 44.5. That's a very low number for Embiid. You know, he's dealing with an issue with the thumb, and they're double teaming him, but he's only half a point more than Siakam. So although Siakam does look good, I would definitely take Embiid over 44.5 in a closeout situation. But I'm going with Gary Trent at 28. Another guy that's score is just a little bit too low. He was like 27 last time, and he put up 37. He put up 38 the game before. He's playing 40 minutes a night, shooting a lot, and he can get you some defensive stats, which get you those quick points on Prize Picks. I'd like Tobias as well. At 34, they priced him up went up from 30 to 34. Still a good number for Tobias, playing 40 minutes a night. And then we also have Donovan Mitchell to take advantage of at 43. 45, 44, 43. He's been right there all 3 games this series. And back in Dallas with Luka making his home debut for this series. Should be raucous crowd, good environment, maybe a little bit higher scoring, just because Utah tends to play slower when they're at home. And then Mike Conley's only at 20. He's been struggling this series, except for that one game, so it's tough to trust that. But I'm definitely going with Gobert at 34. Both him and I like both his and Donovan Mitchell's over on their fantasy. That's to make it a 5x. If you wanted to make it a 5-man flex, if you wanted to make it a 4-man power play or a 4-man flex, the one that I would take out of this would probably be Tatum's 5.5 assists. I feel good about the 44 for Kyrie, the 28 fantasy for Gary Trent, the 43 for Donovan Mitchell, and the 34 for Gobert fantasy. So I feel like this one has a decent chance to hit. Tatum might be up in the air a little bit, so want to take him out, you can. Make it a 4-man, just with the power plays on their fantasy scores. Or you can throw in Jason Tatum's over 5.5 assist. There's not too much I touch in the with the 3 points made. Durant is pretty low at 2, but he's not getting a lot of open looks this series. None of these I feel like will easily hit, especially with Kyrie not hitting a 3 last game, but he still almost got us there with the fantasy, so I'll lean with that. I would probably lean to Donovan Mitchell, but he's taking a lot of 3s, but just not hitting a ton of them, so not too interested in this board. That's about it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Best of luck, and I'll see you all next time.